Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another Athleticademix podcast. And we are continuing with our in-depth kind of insight into different college sports in the US, and particularly those that we work with most commonly. And today's episode will be a look at college golf, which Robin is going to kindly give us more information on. So as to a quick introduction again, I'm David and I'm based here in the UK, and Robin is joining us from Sweden.
Yeah, hi guys.
Great. So we'll get straight into it. And Robin, for the golfers listening or anyone that has interest in hearing about college golf, why don't we start with explaining how the college golf season looks and the ins and outs of that?
Yeah, so college golf is essentially a sport where you as an athlete won't notice a big difference in terms of seasons. The official season with the NCAA tournaments are in the spring, so it's a spring-related sport, and with the national championships being in late May or early June. But as a sport, you actually do quite a few invitationals, which are you can call them friendlies or scrimmages, where you play invitationals to other schools during the fall just to stay in shape. So while being a golfer at a college, you will play a lot of golf even out of season. But the official season is during the spring, and it ends in late May or early June if you make the national tournament.
Okay, right. And in terms of the competition formats, I know they're a little bit different to perhaps how golfers around the world are used to competing. So why don't you tell us kind of a little bit about that, about the competition format?
Yeah, for sure. So you play games against so you play an invitational, as it's called. The invitational could be called a tournament as well. You play against a few different schools during a weekend. So you play a 54-hole competition where you play 18 holes 3 days in a row. So whenever you go to a tournament, you obviously stay at hotels and then play 3 days in a row. So it's just not 18 holes and then go back to the campus. So for the golfers, when they have invitationals, they are usually away for a longer time than some others. And so how it works is that each golf roster at a college usually are between 8 to a maximum of 10 golfers in each gender. So a roster will be, let's say, 9 people then. And if you have an invitational, you select 5 of those golfers to represent the university. So in order to compete at a consistent level, you need to be one of the 5 best golfers in your roster team. Those 5 golfers, they play this 54 holes, 18 holes, 3 a day. And the 4 best golf results over the laps of those 3 days are counted towards the total score of that tournament. So if you have a bad weekend, which all our hobby golfers know of. I know you're a hobby golfer, David, and I am too, and we tend to have more bad days than the ones doing this regularly. But the one who had the worst scores throughout the weekend, those scores don't count. So the 4 best of the 5 golfers are counted towards the total scores. Then you'll have an invitational winner, and you'll also have an individual winner at every tournament. So you always get an individual award if you were the best golfer at the meet or the tournament, whatever you call it. And just like all other sports in the NCAA, golf has a conference championship, and then a regional, and then and a national championship. So the final meet of the season, which are in early May, are the conference championship. So you have approximately 10 schools that is in your conference that you will play every year because they are in your region and in your league. You compete in a conference championship of what school in your conference are the best golf team. If you win the conference championship as a team, you do advance to the NCAA regionals, where you will play other conference champions in a meet as well. if you win your NCAA regionals, you then advance to the national championship tournament that is being held at a place that's already decided from before. So your aim as a golfer at college is that you should be one of the 5 best golfers, so you will be able to compete, and hopefully be one of the 4 best golfers, so your results counts towards the school, so you can contribute to the school. So it's a team sport in many ways, golf in college, but the individual always get an award as well.
Okay, great. And in terms of that team, how big is the roster generally, and then how does scholarship get awarded or divided out among that squad?
Yeah, so the training group or the roster, they are usually between 8 and 10 people. It differs from program, but usually 8 to 10. So half of them won't compete at a tournament, and some schools rotate their team. So if you are number 7 on the list, you will of course be able to compete. But maybe at the strongest competitions, the 5 best golfers will compete. So usually around 8 to 10, and the amount of scholarships that are available in Division 1, the women's side, they have 6 scholarships to give out. On the men's side, they have 4.5 golf scholarship. Just like we said before, there are, just because a Division 1 school has 6 golf scholarships to the women's team to be able to give out, does not mean that they can afford it. So you can be at a Division 1 school, but they only give out 3 golf scholarships because they are not fully funded, as it's called. But the maximum amount of scholarships are 6 on the women's side and 4.5 on the men's side. If you then go into Division 2, the women's side can have 5.4 golf scholarships, men's can have 3.6. And then if we go to the NAIA, the women's and the men's can have 5 scholarships each. So the NAIA have it the same. And the reason why they have the same in the NAIA, and if you've listened to all the episodes from before, it's because they do not have football in the NAIA. So they tend to have the same type of scholarships in all types of sports because of the Title IX. So yeah, that's how many scholarships there are available.
Okay, that's great. And then just going on from that, in terms of how a college coach assesses recruits for their golf program, both male and female, obviously there'll be a lot of focus on an individual's handicap. But do you want to explain on how that impacts the recruiting process and at different levels or divisions, and what the requirements would be from a golfer to become a sort of scholarship athlete in America?
Yeah, of course. And the individual sports that we've spoken to in the episodes before, which are swimming and track, there are, very defined numbers that you need to run this fast, you need to swim this fast. But there is a but in both of those, is that you need the school can't have the type of athletes in the same event as you, because then you're unnecessary. But if you look at golf, you only play one type of golf, but it is also a numbers game. So in golf, it is more than any other sports a numbers game, because if you have an average score and a handicap of what they require, and if you are number 3 on their list in terms of average score, they will be interested. So typically they look mostly at the average score that you have from your tournaments from back home, and they also look a bit on your handicap. But as a golf recruit, we also want you to send in a technical video of your swing. So let's say you have an average score which is higher than the coach wants you to do, but he or she sees that you have some flaws in your swing, but you have potential to be even better. Then you can also be an exciting prospect for them because they see development in you. So it's a number sport, but also a technique sport that they can view video on. But if we go into rough numbers on where you should be at, or what type of level the players are at the different levels at college. On the women's side, we can do the whole women's side, the levels down first, and then we'll head into men's. On the women's side in Division 1, they want you to have an average score of around 75 and a handicap of maximum 3. If you look at D2, you can have an average score of around 80 and a maximum handicap of 8. So a bit lower requirements than Division 1. And then if you go to the NAIA, you can have an average score a bit higher than 80, but not more than 90, and a handicap of maximum 12. If we go over to the men's side in Division 1, they want you to have an average score of around 70 and a handicap of maximum 2. Going down to D2, you bump that up 5 points like you did on the women's side. So an average score of around 75 and a maximum handicap of 3. And you will be an exciting prospect in Division 2. Looking at the NAIA, they are usually around 77 to 80 and a handicap of maximum 5. And as we said, in order to receive a high scholarship, you need to be one of the best, one of the 5 best golfers in their team. So you can actually do some research yourself, seeing what is the average scores of the players playing, where will I be in this line? And let's say you will be number 2 on the roster in terms of average score, you'll be very interested for a college coach. If you would be number 8 on the roster, they will probably be interested, but not with a high scholarship. So you'll need to be able to be as good, so you make the roster into all competitions, and you need to be able to contribute points.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. Okay, doke. And then just moving forward there, if there's golfers listening, people interested in learning more about college golf or the process involved, where should they go and how can they find out more, Robin?
They should always check out our website, athleticademix.se or .com. We have a sport-specific page for golf where we go more in depth than we did in this call, and we talk and explain golf even further. Are you interested in exploring your options in playing college golf at college? Make sure to send in a free assessment on our website, and me and David will get back to you with requesting further information and to give you an expectation of how much scholarship you can expect at a college institution in the US.
Perfect. Okay. Well, we really hope it was insightful and helpful for anybody listening. And yeah, look forward to continuing on tomorrow's episode.